Hi, I'm Alycia Kaback, and I'm sitting here with my friend Brandon Steiner at Steiner headquarters. So, hi, Brandon. How are you?
Great to be here. Thanks for coming by. I mean, I hope you enjoyed the tour.
Oh,
And
it was
we
amazing.
wowed you a little bit, or?
Yeah, you definitely wowed me. I'm just so humbled to even be here with all the amazing Yankees.
Well, it's always, this is like an Arliss episode, or an ESPN commercial. It's all the cool stuff, but then you never know who you're going to run into on the way to the bathroom. I mean,
This is true.
There's always an exciting, I remember the last boring day we've had here, and this is our 25th anniversary, so there's been a lot of good days, and we're very grateful for that. And obviously, there's a lot of people that make that happen for us, guys on the field, and a lot of great fans off the field that have supported what we're doing.
Right.
Some of the insanity anyway, and it seems to be working out pretty good.
No, it's working out very well, and it's amazing how amazing your staff is around you. Everybody's so positive, and everybody's just so motivated to help the company grow to a higher level. Did you foresee any of this happening when you started your company? I mean, what is it like to be Brandon Steiner? Because I know you're with Jeter, and I know you're with all these celebrities all the time. What is the man behind Steiner Sports?
Well, first of all, I'm very grateful. The man behind Steiner is extremely grateful. I mean, to be able to work with some of the biggest names in the talent, you have to be grateful. And know that part of it's luck, and also part of it is a little bit of an opportunity to hopefully use those relationships. Yes, you make money and you build a business, but also to try to help those players with their missions and their stuff off the field. Some of those, for all good causes and reasons, not all just money related. So it's humbling. And when you're around players that are just the best that they've ever been, and when you went around the Derek Jeter or an Eli Manning, I mean, these are just unbelievable opportunities I never really envisioned.
It's the coolest job on the planet, if you ask me.
What I would say, though, is did I ever envision this? Yes. Did I ever think that I was going to be running a company or companies and have very, very intense, serious people around me? Yes. I thought about that as a kid. And, I really felt that would happen for me, that I think was going to be such a dream opportunity with sports. And I was such a big sports fan. And remember, I was kind of early on where, with sports as a business 25 years ago, wasn't that popular a concept. So, I didn't know if it was going to work out to be this, but, very thankful and, very happy. I mean, very happy how this is all turning out for the most part.
Yeah, so you had a game plan. Tell me, how did you get the ball in motion to even start this? Like, how do you even start a company like this?
Well, I mean, I think a lot of it is that's a very good question, and it's typical. I mean, I'm asked that all the time because it's not a typical company, and it does make people say, So, when I look at this, I mean, that's what you got to have balls, and the book is really about. And by the way, you got to have balls is my mother's favorite.
I definitely have balls.
It's my mother's favorite line. I just want to, there's been some male-female controversy, but the book has nothing to do with male-female. You got to have balls is my mother's favorite line. It was an elbow she would always give me, to complain when she saw somebody not doing things the right way, not working fearlessness, and not going the distance, not putting your heart, soul 100% into something. That was somebody who didn't have balls. Somebody who was a little bit of a wimp.
Yeah.
To be honest with you.
Or maybe feeling entitled to do great things.
And my mom had no tolerance for that. So, where do you get started? I mean, I think you get started now. I mean, you get started today. I mean, I really, it's funny. My wife said to me the other day, as my daughter went to college, she says, well, she's got plenty of time and she should just enjoy their time at college. And I said, I don't know if I agree with that. It's been pretty good for my daughter so far. And I don't think you should just blow off any period of time completely. Yes, should you have fun? Should you be a kid? Working at 10 years old, was that a little early for me to probably get up at 6 in the morning and work? That's a little bit absurd and a little bit unusual. But I think it starts when you're a kid. A big part of who you are is where you were raised and who raised you.
Right.
And how early in age you got accountable.
Right.
Were you the kid that you had your mom and dad had to get on you to do your homework, to get you up and clean your room, to get you up in the morning? Or were you a kid who knew what your responsibilities were and took care of it, and then were looking to do more?
Right. Who motivates a motivator?
So I think a big part of it is, for me, my mother was a tremendous motivator. She was highly motivated and didn't accept anything other than, trying to do your best and being fearless. I wasn't always the best. As a matter of fact, I was anything but the best at most of the things I did as a kid, to be honest with you. But I think my success, so far the ones that I can kind of get my arms around, started when I was a kid. Probably my biggest success is, I'm married 23 years and I have 2 kids that actually still talk to us and we all get along really good. And I think that's, you can't discount that.
Yeah.
And a lot of that comes from, again, commitment and faith and spirit. Everything kind of works all together. So To people that are listening, I think it's important to understand that, it's not like, let me get to that tomorrow. It's not like, let me get to that when I get out of college, or, I got this job, it's going okay. You're in that kind of like that jogging, slow motion mode.
Yeah.
And eventually someday everything's going to work out. It's like, it's today. Today, it's like, how am I going to get better? How do I get better? And how am I going to be accountable? And who's going to really tell me the truth about really where I am in life?
Right. And what type of other mentors did you have other than your mom?
My mom was a tremendous mentor, mainly because she told me the truth. She knew me better than anyone. I had a chef. I worked in the kitchen for about 8 years in my summers. Alycia Jackson. He was a hat maker and a black, a huge black man. I mean, his hands was just, he grabbed my entire head. I have a pretty big head. And Alycia was a man who taught me the importance of really understanding people. It's not necessarily about, you don't necessarily always have to sell or motivate people. You got to understand them first and foremost, and understand what makes them tick. And when you know what makes them tick, and you find that button, you keep pressing that button. Because once you know what makes somebody tick, you keep giving it to them, and that's how you go and build a relationship and get to know somebody, by hitting the button. And I think Alycia taught me about a work ethic too. I mean, we up at 6 in the morning, working till 7:30 at night, in a 100-degree kitchen, and perfection and being on time and understanding how to put out quality every day, all day, with everything, regardless who was looking. He was the most important lesson I learned is, I think the quality of who you are really happens when the lights are dark and nobody's looking. What are you doing when nobody knows and nobody can see? And those thoughts and those actions, I think, really end up becoming a big part of who you are. And that's a lot of what I learned from Alycia is, taking a lot of pride, timing, being on time, and keeping your word. If you say you're going to get something done, to get it done. And how many times do you say, I'm going to call you back, and you don't call back? Or you're going to get something done, and you don't get it done? I mean, how many times? But eventually, that is a big part of who you become, that reputation. Are you somebody who gets something done when you say you're going to do it, regardless of the consequences, and regardless whether you had other commitments? And it's not convenient commitment, by the way. So commitment may not be convenient, but you gave your word, you're going to get it done. You get it done, you figure it out. And I think that's a big part of who you are.
Yeah.
And, it's Derek Jeter, it's Eli Manning, but I don't know if those guys are staying with a company like ours if we don't do exactly what we promise and make sure that every time we give our word on something that we deliver it.
Right. There's a saying, your network is your net worth. How do you build a network? Like, what is the importance of networking in your career?
Well, first of all, your network is your net worth. I mean, I think it's more like network versus self-worth, is you can never lose your self-worth, regardless of what your net worth is. I think a lot of people judge their value based on how much money they have on the account, how big their house is. Right. And then two have nothing to do with each other. Your self-worth has to always stay at a very high level. And you've got to be an incredibly valuable person. You've got to know you're an incredibly valuable person, worthy of not only the biggest and best things of happening, but you're entitled to anything and everything that you work hard for, regardless of how much money you got in the bank, and regardless of whether you took a bad hit and made a bad business decision. That's your net worth, not your self-worth. Networking is another story, and I think when you talk about networking, I think it's a very misused and abused word. I mean, I look at it as like, how do you increase the level of getting to know people? Everybody knows. I mean, who's walking in a room? You get in these networking events. Who's walking in a room and all of a sudden, oh, here's my card, let's do business. At the end of the day, people do business with people that they know, they trust, and they like. So the question is, how do you get to know people? How do you get them to trust you? And how do you get them to like you?
Right. How do you do it?
It's friend building. What you do is you focus less on yourself and you focus more on the person you're trying to develop a relationship with. And very simply put, how do you get to know what's important? How do you know that button to push? We were talking about that before. How do you know the buttons to push when you're trying to get to know someone? And in today's world, it's so much easier than back when I was a kid. You turn on the computer, if you really do your homework, you can find out so much about a person. And instead of calling that person up, it's amazing how often, on a day-to-day basis, people call me, and all they're interested in is selling me what they have.
What's in it for
me? And I'm an easy
Always.
mark. I'm like, that's not that interesting to me. I mean, I got all the stuff I need to buy. I don't need more stuff to buy. But instead of calling me up and saying, Brandon, I want to help you with your charity. I want to help you grow your business. And here's an article. I came up with an idea. There's a person you need to meet. This has nothing to do with me, but I thought if you meet him, that this person can really help your business. Like, that moves me. Finding out what's important to me and then trying to sell me on the sell is trying to help me as opposed to selling me and getting me to buy something. And I think that's the best networking. If you target people that you want to meet, The target is find people that you want to meet, find people that potentially could be important to you in your growth of your business, of whatever you're trying to do, and then figure out how you can help those people and help them. Do everything you can for those people as often as you can and expect nothing back. Just keep making believe that you're them and the kind of things. And it could be an article, it could be a donation, it could be showing up, volunteering, who knows? But think along the lines of how can I help that person? What are the buttons that person needs? If somebody's entrenched because they've lost a loved one to a particular charity, then go get involved with that charity and be a help and be authentic about it. And you'd be surprised how that relationship could eventually somewhere pick up some momentum.
And
I think that a lot of people miss that boat, and it's a grown-up game to play. Most people, if I go give you this, you're going to give me something back.
Right.
The grown-up game is, can you do as much as you can for as many people as you can and expect nothing back? And really just put yourself out there with, A, the knowledge you have, but B, all the relationships and contacts and share them to help other people grow and go.